Hi, I'm Cadet Singh from Det 158. Today we're going to be going over how to stand in the position of attention, parade rest at ease, as well as the stationary commands of right face, left face, and about face. The position of attention is used to show other people, and especially members of the military, that you're giving them their attention. You go to the position of attention generally when your commanding officer calls it, or when an officer enters the room, and that's just actively requiring the entire room to be silent and show that the room now has their attention on the commanding officer. At the position of attention, your feet should be 45 degrees. Each foot should be 22.5 degrees from your center line, forming that 45-degree angle between your feet. Your body should be straight and erect. Your knees should not be locked, but they should be straight. Your arms should also be straight, and your military bearing should be maintained. Military bearing requires you to be both silent and immobile, and your eyes should be straight forward. Your hands should be cupped, and your thumb should rest on the seam of your trousers. Your thumb should also be resting along the first joint of your forefinger with your palm facing the legs. Your arms should be straight down alongside your body, and your wrist should also be straight with your arms. Your whole body will be erect with your hips level, chest lifted, back arched, and shoulders square and even. There are two requirements to execute the position of attention. One, you must be halted, and two, the command must be called in the cadence of quick time. To call the position of attention, the person who is calling it must be at the position of attention. Similarly, for the position of parade rest, there are two requirements to execute it. One, you must be halted at the position of attention, and two, the command must be called and executed in the cadence of quick time. To call the command, the person who's calling the command, like any other command, will have to be at the position of attention. At the position of parade rest, your feet will still be 22.5 degrees off from your center line, but your heels will be 12 inches apart. Notice how the knees are still straight but not locked. Notice how the arms are fully extended. As we pan to the rear view, notice how the hands are placed. Your thumb should form an X, and your palm should be facing outwards with your fingers pointing towards the ground. Your right hand should be into the palm of your left hand, and your right thumb should be over your left thumb. This position also requires your head and eyes to be forward, and silence and immobility are required until further commands are given. The position of at ease looks similar to the position of parade rest, but slight movements and adjustments can be made. Silence is still required, and your right foot must remain planted on the ground in the same position throughout the entire movement, so that when you're in a formation, the formation itself isn't moving. Now we're going to go over how to call the different commands for the different positions. You'll notice how the command voice of each command is separate from the actual command name. For example, the command of flight, attention, will sound like flight, tench, hut, demonstrated as follows. Flight, tench, hut, parade, est, at ease. Throughout those commands, notice how the body moves seamlessly throughout each movement. For the command of flight, attention, at the command of flight, your body should be at parade rest. If you are at any other rest command, such as at ease, your body will immediately go to parade rest. On the command of tench hut, which is the command of execution, your legs will come together, and at the same time, your hands will move to your sides, demonstrated as follows. Flight, tench hut. To go back to parade rest, the command of parade hest is called. Your hands will go back behind your back, and your legs will extend 12 inches. They will still remain 22.5 degrees pointed outwards from your center line, demonstrated as follows. Parade, hest. The command of at ease is simply a command of execution, and on the command of at ease, you may relax and adjust everything but your right foot, demonstrated as follows. At ease. Now, we're going to go over the commands of left and right face. We're going to start with the command of left face. Think about a time when you're perhaps standing in a grocery aisle and you have to turn to the left to grab something. The command of left face is the Air Force's standard way to execute that command in formation. There are two requirements to execute this command. One, you must be halted at the position of attention, and two, the command must be called and executed in the cadence of quick time. To call the command, the person who's commanding must also be at the position of attention. Now we're going to go over the details of the actual movement. You're going to start at the position of attention. On the command of left, You're going to mentally prepare yourself. On the command of face, which in the command voice will sound like haste, you are going to notice your pivot points. Your pivot point number 1 is going to be the heel of your left foot. So think about how you might rotate like this. And pivot point number 2 is going to be the ball of your right foot. Think about how you might squash a bug. It is a 2-count movement. In count 1, going to pivot on both of those heels 90 degrees to your left. Your left heel, when you're done with the pivot, should remain 22.5 degrees off from your center line, so that afterwards, when you complete the movement, you're again at the position of attention. So left, haste. This is count 1 of the movement. Count 2, you're going to smartly bring your right foot up alongside your left foot. So your heels are aligned and you're back at the position of attention, demonstrated as follows. So now I'm going to demonstrate the command of left face. In this first view, pay attention especially to my lower body and the movements of my lower body. Left, haste. In this next perspective, we're going to look at the side view, pay special attention to my arms and the rest of my upper body throughout the movement. Left, haste. Throughout the entire movement, notice how the upper body does not move at all. Your upper body should remain at the position of attention throughout the 2-count movement. As a reminder, this is what it should look like. Notice how also while I pivot, my knee is straight but not stiff. Left, haste. The command of right face is similarly executed to the command of left face, which instead of turning 90 degrees to the left, you're going to turn 90 degrees to the right. The command is demonstrated as follows. Pay special attention to my lower body and how my legs move throughout this movement. Right, haste. Now pay attention to how my upper body does not move throughout this movement. Right, haste. The pivot points of the command of right face are going to be the ball of your left foot and the heel of your right foot. You're going to pivot 90 degrees to the right, and you're going to be back at the position of attention. The details of the command are similar. Your legs are going to remain straight but not stiff, and your hands are also going to remain straight but not stiff, with your entire upper body still at the position of attention. Right face is also a 2-count movement. So the first count is going to be that initial pivot, and the second count will be when you smartly bring your left heel up to your right heel. Demonstrated as follows. Right, haste. This is count 1. This is count 2. About face is a standardized way we use to turn the entire formation or individuals around 180 degrees. Think about a time when you're walking in the mall and you see someone you don't like and you want to turn all the way around and face the other way. That's what about face could be used for as a standardized military command. The command of about face has a preparatory of command of about. On the command of about, you're going to mentally prepare yourself to complete on the command of execution. The command of execution is face, which as we've demonstrated with right and left face, will sound like haste. On the command of haste, you're going to complete the 2-count movement, with count 1 being starting from your right foot. Your right foot is going to be brought up from your hip with your legs still straight to approximately half a shoe length behind and slightly to the left of your left heel. This will allow you for count 2 to complete the pivot. In count 2, you're going to pivot with your pivot points being the heel of your left foot and the ball of your right foot. You're going to pivot all the way around, and you're going to end at the position of attention. So demonstrated like so. Count 1 is going to be completed after the command of execution. So about, haste. You're going to keep your legs straight but not stiff. Bring it behind your left heel, half a shoe length behind and slightly to the left. And then you're going to pivot in the second count. Some people, as they learn the movement, like to draw a C on the ground to figure out where they should put their feet so that they can complete the movement without adjusting at the end. That would look like this. And then you can turn around, and at here, there should be no adjustments. Your heels should be at the position of attention, which is 45 degrees apart. along with your hands, should be pinned at your side. Throughout the entire movement, your hands and upper body should not move. Movement occurs from the hips and below. The requirements for the command of about face are must be called and executed from the position of attention. While executing it, before you start, you must be halted, and calling and execution must occur in the cadence of quick time. So we're going to start with a general overview of what the command should look like. We're going to do a side view first, pay special attention to what my lower body, especially my legs, look like throughout the movement. About face. We're now going to do a front view, pay special attention to what my upper body, my hands, do throughout this movement. About face. At the completion of all three facing movements we went over, which is left face, right face, and about face, your body should end at the position of attention, facing in a new direction. In overview, throughout this video, we went over the position of attention, parade rest, and at ease, as well as the applicable commands and movements to go throughout each position. We also went over left, right, and about face. To practice these movements at home, I highly recommend using a mirror so you can watch your body throughout the movement, or even better would be to have a wingman give you critiques throughout the movement so that both you and your wingman can see what it looks like correctly and incorrectly.